You ever see a moment so raw, so downright ugly, that you just know right there something's about to crack wide open? That was Millerville, Texas, the day Jack Morrison tried to auction off his own stepdaughter like livestock. $20? Anyone give me 20 for this mute? He bellowed, swinging a bottle, dragging a 19-year-old girl behind him with a filthy rope. The sun was merciless, and the cattle auction should have been over, but folks stuck around like vultures circling roadkill. The girl rose, though nobody cared to ask her name, just stood there, bare feet in red dust, blue dress torn and stained from God knows how many years of abuse. Her hair hung in her face, half hiding features that might have been beautiful once, but right then just looked tired, haunted, like she'd made peace with misery itself. She didn't flinch at the shouting, not even at the jeers, stood there like a ghost might, untouchable, half here, half somewhere else. Jack stumbled. She don't talk, don't hear, but she works, cooks, cleans, won't cause trouble. You'll not find cheaper. The men laughed. Tom Bradley tossed out, 15, and someone else sneered, not worth that, she can't even hear you yell. Folks roared, like selling a human being was the funniest show in town. I watched from under my hat, jaw clenched, blood burning. I'm Silas Washington, a black farmer who spent 15 years fighting for every inch of land I owned. I'd seen plenty of ugly in my time, but this cut deep. I'd come for cattle, not for a front row seat to history repeating itself. Irony stings, you know what I mean? May a descendant of slaves watching a white man try to sell a girl like she's nothing. But just as I thought I'd seen it all, something subtle caught my eye. The girl, who everyone swore was deaf, twitched ever so slightly when a little boy shrieked behind her. Not much, but enough. I saw it, and it told me she was still there, still fighting, even if just a flicker. I stepped out of the shade, 6 feet tall, shoulders broad, face they all knew and some resented. My presence made the laughter stop, just like that. For a second, the girl met my gazino begging. No tears, just this steady, unblinking calm that rattled me more than anything. 50, I said. My voice cut through the crowd like a blade. The world went silent. Even the flies seemed to pause. Jack's jaw worked, couldn't process it. Sold, he mumbled, like it hurt him to say it. I counted out the coins one by one, slow, making sure they all saw I had enough. As I did, Rose, supposedly deaf, turned when a wagon creaked nearby. Nobody else noticed, but I did. I untied her, careful of the bruises circling her wrist, old, ugly marks. I asked her soft, "What's your name?" No answer, but as I helped her up into my wagon, I caught the ghost of a smile. Might have been my imagination, but I needed to believe it was real. The crowd watched us leave, eyes burning holes in my back. They hated seeing a black man with money, with land, with a will of his own, and now with a girl nobody else wanted. But as we rode away, I realized she wasn't as broken as she looked. And somehow, I knew taking her home was going to change everything. Back at my farm, it was quiet. She wrote her name, Rosie, in the dust along the wagon's side. The handwriting was careful, educated, and fit the story Jack had told. Over the next few days, Rose worked like she'd always belonged there, cooking, cleaning, tending the animals. She had a way of knowing what needed doing before I could say a word. Still, I kept catching glimpses. She'd turn her head at soft noises, hum gently to the horses, move with purpose. Deaf, not a chance. Then, on the third morning, trouble arrived. 3 men on horseback. Tom Bradley, Sheriff Patterson, and the Reverend Mitchell, who fancied himself the town's conscience. "Washington, we need to talk," Bradley called, strutting up like he owned the place. Rose, 200 yards away, looked up at the sound clear as Day then bolted for the house. There was no pretending she hadn't heard. The men started in on me concerned. They said about a single black man taking in a young white woman. The Reverend twisted the knife, calling it your condition, making a simple fact sound dirty. I kept my cool, told them Rose worked for room and board like any hand. Bradley spat in the dirt. "She's a woman, not a hand." People talk. The sheriff nodded, not saying I'd done wrong, but warning what folks might say. They asked to talk to her. I shrugged. "She's deaf, mute." "Give it a try." Out came Rose, playing her part clean apron, tray of water and cookies, eyes down. She curtsied, silent, perfect. The men tested her. Bradley dropped his mug. Patterson clapped behind her. She didn't flinch, but when a horse snorted behind her, I saw her shift barely. After they left, Rose met my eyes, steady and sharp. I saw right then. She'd been playing all of us. That night, listening to the wind, I realized the truth. She wasn't some victim I'd rescued. She was the most dangerous thing in Millerville, a woman with nothing left to lose. The next day brought a twist I never saw coming. Dr. Samuel Matthews, the only black doctor in the county, showed up. When Rose saw him, her whole face lit up. First time I saw her truly smile. Dr. Matthews, she said, clear as a bell. My heart nearly stopped. Dr. Matthews grinned at my shock. Silas, meet Dr. Rose Elizabeth Thornton, Boston University, Medicine and Psychology. Daughter of Dr. Jonathan Thornton. I stared at them, stunned. Rose, mute Rose, was a trained doctor. She explained her father ruined by fraud, her stepfather Jack faking her disability to keep her out of the way. She'd come to Dr. Matthews for help, and together, they hatched a plan to expose the town's corruption. Turns out, for weeks, Rose had been collecting proof fake contracts, overpriced goods, bribes, stolen church money, even evidence of a slave-like labor scheme run by the same men who'd come to judge us. People talk when they think you can't hear, she said, eyes dancing with mischief. Their whole ugly world laid bare by the very person they'd thought powerless. Sunday arrived, and with it, the final act. The church was packed, the reverend droning on about God's order. Right on cue, Dr. Matthew stood up, briefcase in hand. Reverend, I think you and your flock should see what's really going on. Rose stood, voice ringing out, no longer hiding. My name is Dr. Rose Elizabeth Thornton. For weeks, while you looked down on me, I gathered evidence: Bradley's double prices, Patterson's bribes, Mitchell's theft. The sheriff tried to bolt, but I blocked the aisle. Panic swept the pews as Dr. Matthews laid out the evidence copies already sent to the state and the newspapers. It was chaos. Bradley turned pale, Patterson froze, Mitchell sputtered. Rose kept going, her calm like a scalpel. You judge me as weak. Today you see the truth. I am more educated than your children, richer than your husbands, and more moral than your leaders. Mitchell tried to argue, but Rose shut him down. These aren't accusations. They're facts, headed for court. That moment changed everything. Millerville's foundations shook, power gone from the men who'd abused it. Bradley lost his store, forced to work as a farmhand in another state. Patterson landed in prison, learning firsthand the meaning of justice. Mitchell, disgraced, sold insurance door to door, feeling the sting of every slammed door. Meanwhile, my farm became something new. Rose and I opened a free clinic, no color lines, just care. Matthews joined us, starting a medical program for kids who'd never have dreamed of college. The church, under new leadership, invited us to wed. Rose, standing tall, spoke of forgiveness and second chances, looking the old gossips right in the eye. The new mayorra, black woman, handed us the key to the city. 3 years later, journalists asked Rose the secret. She always said, never underestimate someone because of what you think you know. Never confuse silence with ignorance or kindness with weakness. I'd add, sometimes the person you try to break might just be stronger, smarter, and better than you'll ever be. Our story proves real revenge isn't destroying your enemies. It's building a life so good they regret never believing in you. Prejudice is a prison that traps everyone, but only the brave hold the key. So tell me, have you ever seen someone judged unfairly for how they look or what others assumed about them? Where do you draw the line between justice and mercy? Drop your thoughts below. Let's talk about what true justice means and why the quietest voices can change the world.